Colorado Commission on Higher Education this year was charged with developing a new funding formula to allocate all of our state general fund dollars that go to Colorado's colleges and universities. The legislation further then charged the Commission with developing a process that included interested parties. But I really think we did something more unique in Colorado this year. We had a very, very collaborative and inclusive process. We certainly had representatives of all of the universities and colleges, and we had representatives of the business community, but we went farther than that, and we included in the group advocates of education, and probably most important, a voice that represented students. And that was my role. My role on this group also ensured that this new formula that we were developing would reflect the changing demographics of Colorado and of the country, and would work to reduce the attainment gap, in particular, that we have between Colorado's white students and our Latino students. In Colorado right now, our attainment gap between white students and Latino students is the largest in the country, which is a critical issue here in Colorado and across the country. We must address it if we want our state and the country to prosper and be successful economically. You know, Latino students in particular are a very underrepresented population in the halls of higher education. And this process that we established and worked through, and my role in particular, worked to ensure and enhance that access to higher education exists for all students, but in particular Latinos in Colorado. Well, the new funding model was really developed to be a performance-based model with a focus on outcomes. And the formula also had to support Colorado's statewide goals for higher education. But this is a complicated process, very complicated. And in Colorado, arguably, we have the most complicated process of all the states in the country when you consider our legislative and constitutional restrictions and limitations. But ultimately, we developed a formula that included funding factors that took into consideration the various and unique role and mission of all of our different universities, as well as performance. And of course, we wanted to make sure we continued to consider enrollments and access for students. It's a delicate balance. It was more sensitive and delicate here in Colorado because so much money was going through this formula. In Colorado, unlike most other states that have tried this, we were putting 100% of the state's higher education funding through this model. So we had to be very, very careful with the stability and the predictability of this new model. But in the end, this conversation is more about just than creating just a formula. It's really about the importance of higher education and the importance of education in the economic prosperity of the state. Well, the Commission engaged consultants and professionals that helped educate the executive advisory group on what had worked well and also what had worked not well in other states around the country. But it was a difficult and complicated process, but it was very rewarding to see such a diverse group of folks that were on the group who have very, very different and sometimes conflicting interests come together and be willing to work together. Our group was willing to compromise and they were willing to negotiate. And it's easy to say, but it was satisfying to see so many people actually compromise and negotiate. The group was determined in the end to work together for a greater goal and put aside their own special interests about their own universities to work for a state goal as a whole.